Welcome back to Under the Plate, and for episode 15, I thought it'd be a good time to sit down and discuss the PC port and everything surrounding it. Now, I'm gonna guess you've probably seen the big 1 hour review we put up, but today, I've got my good friend and co-founder, Rain, here with me, and we're gonna kind of talk about the PC port and what Square Enix did good and what they did bad.
I've been waiting for this PC port for a while now. I actually didn't even play the original on the PS5, so
Crazy.
it's wild. I know he didn't even know until now. I mean, until today. We've been talking before we started this video, and I mean, it's been great. I'm loving the game, and obviously I do have some references for what the PC version looks like, or sorry, what the PS5 version looks like, and what the PC version looks like, because I'm playing the PC version right now. I'm actually up to Junon. So I mean, I've been busy. I could be further, but I've just been busy, so I haven't been able to do much. But yeah, I'm excited to yap about this for quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do best, right? But no, it's really exciting. I mean, so I played I think I'm about 35 hours right now on the PC release. It's been really great. I mean, I thankfully got to download a mod save that someone had of all the chapters unlocked, because I think I was up through like chapter 7.
Right.
So pushing up to I got to see the date and all great, and chapter 13 and 14. So it's really impressive. I think really the thing that we were most surprised by is like the timing, the fact that this came under 12 months. I mean, 16 didn't come until September last year.
Yeah.
And that game came out on June 22nd, 2023. So it's nice to finally see Square take a leap and kind of give us PC ports earlier, not just be like, hey guys, guess what? You're screwed. We'll see you in a year or two.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, and it seems like, at least based on what they're saying, that we're going to get PC ports day and date, and not like, 6 months to a year later, 2 years later, like Intergrade, which I know it sounds crazy, but the Epic Games version, like I said, that's not the version that I was ever going to buy. So,
No.
I mean, the remake port wasn't the greatest port. It did have a lot of stuttering issues initially when it came out. I did play remake the day it came out on PS4. I didn't play Intergrade on PS5. I played Intergrade on Steam. So I waited quite a while to get to it. I know it's wild considering I love FF7 that I waited so long to play it, but I'm just like the type of guy that's just like, hey, Final Weapon, there's going to be somebody at this company that's going to cover it for me. They're going to tell me about it, and I'm going to have references for the things that I'm talking about when I get to it, obviously. But since like 13, like FF13-1, which I think is a terrible port, and obviously the trilogy over time slightly got better. Lightning Return's actually pretty decent. It's a weird port. If you guys ever play Lightning Returns, like if you drag your mouse up to like the top of the screen, like there's like a drop down like menu, sort of like an emulator where you're like clicking all the settings. It's not actually like in the game. Like you don't press like settings in the menu. You actually go to the top of the screen and click it, and it drops down.
Dark magic, man.
It's odd. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. I haven't really played many games on PC that are like that, so it is kind of interesting. But Rebirth, comparatively to 16, because I did play 16 on PC and I also played 16 on release on the PS5. I have been waiting for that game. That game looked awesome. It was actually a great game. You guys know I have a few gripes about 16. If you've watched Weaponized, at least the first episode, I think we talked about it in the first episode, correct?
But you also did the review for it, so
I
if you
did
want
do a
thoughts
PC
on
review.
The PC version, go check that out. It was a good review.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wrote that all by myself. So, so 16's great. That was actually a decent PC port, honestly. I was pretty impressed by that, considering Square Enix PC ports haven't been that great. 15, I know, Noah, you've played the PC port of 15, and I have as well. That, I think, is the best version of 15, just because 15 really needed the horsepower of a PC to really get the hair and all the other, just, it's an open world.
It's always the hair, man. I'm a hair, dude, oh my God.
Especially in Final Fantasy.
Dude, it's always the Final Fantasy games too. Like, I'm telling you, Rebirth looks all right. Like it looks really good. But like,
Yeah.
oh my god, 15 drove me crazy with the
Yeah.
hair. I'm like, why do you look like that? Like,
Yeah, the hair looks all frizzy and like it's like just a bunch. It looks like split ends, and it's just weird, dude. It looks weird.
You're getting me riled up just thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. But I did play the PC port and it was really good. That's
it fixed
like
a lot of
Luminous
my
at its
issues
best.
with it.
It
Yeah,
really is.
It is. Yeah, Luminous at its best. Yeah, I would agree. I did not play Forspoken. I did not play Forspoken at all. I barely remember the name of the game.
I barely remember the. Oh my gosh, I barely remember the name. The only thing I really remember is that I could read with my mind.
Yeah, like or
so
whatever
bad.
the heck. I can do
so
magic
bad.
with my mind, or I don't even remember what she says. It
Who knows,
immediately
man?
threw me off, and I just wasn't interested, so I didn't play it. So I don't have any information about that. I did not come here with information about Forspoken. I actually forgot about the game until now, mentioning the Square Enix ports and Luminous. But 16 has been pretty good. The lighting's great. The hair is great. Obviously, I've seen that some people have had issues. It does have a mostly positive on Steam with around a 76%. So it's really not the greatest reviews for it. I don't think it's based on the gameplay. I do think it's based on the port. But I have a 4070 and it's been pretty good for me outside of like my Discord having an issue where I'm sharing the game and it like crashes my Discord, which is odd. I wonder if Square Enix knows about that. If they don't, I'll probably let them know. That that's an issue.
That's a weird bug.
It's a weird bug.
I didn't. So I have my ancient build. I'm gonna share. I say ancient, but
it's not that old.
No, it's not. I really want to upgrade it. So I've got an 11700 KF processor, and then I have a 3060 Ti. So really good for running almost everything in 1440p for the most part. I don't ever have any issues. Rebirth ran really well on my system. I was getting around 60 to 80 FPS once I made some adjustments in the settings. Really, the big one was texture resolution because VRAM, if you have 8 gigabytes, Unreal Engine 4 is like just much on the VRAM. Like it loves it. And 8 gigabytes was not enough for the high textures. So I took it off and I got insane boost in performance. But I'll be honest, like I feel like so many people on the Steam reviews, like I've been reading them, I've seen so many people talk about like the game doesn't even have DLSS, it's broken, and it's because
Square
they implemented it in a very weird way. And now I will say, and I talked about this in my review, I think that the way they implemented it is really interesting because the thought of being able to fully customize your dynamic resolution like on a slider is kind of fascinating to me. Like I think you could get perhaps in between DLSS quality and performance or above, right? But at the end of the day, they gave you presets and you have 33, 50, 66, and 100%, which is ultra performance, quality, and TLAA or DLAA. And literally there's no wordage or any guidance at all that that's what those settings are.
Yeah,
so
you have no idea.
I'm fully convinced that people that don't know how to run the game properly, it's because of that. And I don't blame them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Square
really
Enix
don't.
Square Enix did it in a really strange way. It's incredibly odd. I actually did not find it until like 2 hours in, where I'm like, why does my game look like this? I play on like a 4K 144 hertz, like Samsung Odyssey Neo G7. It's like $1,000.
All right.
I mean, it's not $1,000 anymore. I think it's like $700. I'm flexing. Anyway, but yeah, I have a i9 13900 KF. I have 64 gigs of DDR5. It's Corsair Vengeance. It's 6400. And it's been pretty good. Once I figured out where the DLSS setting was, I was like, what is going on with this game? And once I figured out where it was, because Square Enix put it in some strange place, it ended up looking really good. I was like, oh crap, like this is where all the power was. Like it's deep in the settings somewhere where I couldn't find it. But I mean, it looks great. The grasslands look really good. Junon looks really good so far. So I mean,
just wait. I've been really impressed. Like I played the game because people online, I've been seeing some really, really, the word for it, dumb arguments that PS5 Pro looks better than PC. And I'm like, there's this one screenshot, right? And it's of the flashback, and it's in chapter 1 of Cloud and Nibelheim. And they have this, the rock formation in the back, and they're like, it looks so much better on PS5. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, number one, PS5 Pro runs this game at 1260p and upscales it to 4K.
Correct.
Number two, look at the lighting. Cloud looks like a Play-Doh doll on the PS5.
It's true.
I mean, it's like, it looks so much better. You guys, I'm telling you, you have to play the game on PC to see the lighting for yourself. But I'm like, dude, they even marketed some of the best scenes. Like the scene of Tifa and Cloud and Gongaga in Chapter 9 is like one of the best examples of the lighting. So they knew what they were doing showing that. But like even the date scene and like the stuff in Chapter 12 at the Coliseum, like just the little shadows and light artifacts that reflect off the characters. I mean, it just looks so much better. It looks so much better. And again, even the character models themselves, small little details are brought out by that lighting. Like, I think all the eyes are a lot more pronounced. Like,
they are.
Tifa's eyes got kind of dark in the PS5 version, and it was kind of like, whoa, because she, they made them pretty prominent in Remake, but, they're all back to normal in the PC version. So who knows, man? I'm just yapping, but it's crazy. I mean, I think it's so funny that people think PS5 Pro looks better than PC. I think that's a tough conversation.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I mean, I guess that's in the Steam reviews or somebody saying that and they're being ridiculous. Or maybe it's like a console fanboy.
I'm shocked you haven't seen it online.
No, I have not. My profile picture is Chadley like staring into his head is really close. You don't see his mouth. I took quite a few screenshots of the game. It looks great. It looks really good. What I noticed is Calm looked great. This is my first time actually seeing Calm because I really didn't want to see any footage of the game until it came out on PC. It's crazy like how much I distanced myself from the game until it dropped on PC. So like, I mean, when you were talking about it, I had no idea what you were talking about. I wasn't spoiled by what you were saying to me. I had no idea what you were talking. I was like, what is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about, which is good.
That is good.
Looks good. It looks great. They're making a lot of good progress with their PC ports. I hope they continue to make great progress with the PC ports, especially if they're going to be day and date. They need to be good. In terms of like comparative, like if we're talking about comparisons between the PS5 and the PC, we already could see the lighting and just the colors are so much better. Like the PS5 looks so washed out. It's insane to me that people can say that. Bro, when I seen the PC footage, I was like, dude, I mean, I've been saying this since Remake. It's like we're getting to a point where, the games are looking better than Advent Children. Mind you, when I say Advent Children, I'm not talking about like the model fidelity, because the model fidelity was better in Remake than it was in Advent Children, right? I'm talking about like the lighting and, when cutscenes for like visual works, right? Like when you see like a visual works cutscene, it is a different caliber of just everything, right? It's the lighting.
So
it's
good, man.
Everything, right? The particle effects are really amazing. There's a lot going on. So generally, I think it's superior to the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. And I think the fact that it's running on Steam Deck is great because we know it's going to run on Switch too. But
oh yeah, and it's going to run better on Switch 2 than Steam Deck. I've seen a lot of people. So like, I won't lie, it does run on Steam Deck, but obviously there's a ton of compromise that you have to make.
Of course, yeah.
And naturally, I mean, it's a gaming handheld PC running arguably one of the most technical RPGs out there right now. I get it.
Correct, like next to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's really funny because I've seen a lot of people online be like, oh, well, if it runs on Steam Deck like this, can't even possibly run on Switch 2. And I'm sitting here like, Switch 2 has DLSS. Mm-hmm. Hello, walk into the room. Like, that's going to make the difference, man, for so many games.
Yeah, NVIDIA made that transition to AI for a reason, right? Their market cap is based around the fact that they've turned into an AI company, right? Obviously, they just had
not to speak on recent events.
Yeah, obviously just had a huge dip because of China and DeepSeek. But, I mean, Square has made a lot of progress with PC ports. I actually really like the FF12 port. I think it's done by Virtuos. It looks really, really good. It has ultra-wide support, and it works really well. I think the ultra-wide support on Rebirth is not there or lacking.
It is not there, but there is a mod out, and it works perfectly.
I actually seen a mod for it. Yeah, I did see a mod for it. I didn't know if it was like, because I used to have
Square, man, they've missed it on 16, man.
That was a mistake. They should have had ultra-wide support on 16 for sure. I think ultra-wide's just... I know. What the heck? Ultra-wides, they're not as unpopular as people think they are, but it's kind of why I moved away from them, because so many developers that, and so many games that I wanted to play were just opting out of having native ultra-wide support. And most mods for ultra-wide, if they even do exist, suck. So it's like, I just didn't want to do it. Like Ni no Kuni 2, one of my favorite games, it just has native ultra-wide support and looks great. Right? And it's like, there are Japanese developers that are much smaller than Square that are doing these things with their games. So it's just really confusing for me. It's very confusing for me that Square Enix doesn't have ultra-wide support natively in FF7 Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Because that's the thing. It's like, you guys make, and I said this is like my last line of my review. It's like, they make 10 steps forward, and they're almost there. But, you can't ask for everything. But I really do hope that their next PC port, they look at it. Because, again, I don't have an ultra-wide monitor, and I have no intention of getting one. But, I mean, I think it's just something. PC is all about options. And as a developer, you need to support those options. And
Correct.
The fact that every other major third-party developer and even indie developers support ultra-wide and Square
Correct.
can't, it's like, really? Like, yeah, you can have a mod or patch it in. I mean, seriously, the day it came out, within 2 hours, there was an ultra-wide mod.
That's true.
I mean, that's great, but, like, why isn't it a thing in the game? I don't know.
Yeah, it should be native. It should be native.
Yeah, it really should.
The fact that FF12 Zodiac Age has native, I mean...
Yeah, man.
What were you going to say?
Oh, hey. I was just going to say, I mean, anything better than the Nier Automata port.
The Replicant port wasn't that great either. And I actually really like Replicant.
I adore Replicant.
Yeah, I didn't know that Square was going to do so much with Replicant. That shocked me. I was not willing to play the original Nier, Gestalt and Replicant. I was not willing to play them. The music is so good. It's so good. But they just were not really good games. I mean, in terms of like, gameplay wise. So, I mean, they made a pretty good game when Toy Logic worked on it. So, I mean, I love Replicant.
That remaster was so good, man. I mean, I still feel like daily I juggle between which one I like more. But yeah, no, I didn't play the original Nier either because literally I'm not playing that. It's the same reason I haven't played Drakengard 3. I'm sorry, I've tried. I really want to play it. Please remake it or remaster it. I really want to try and play it. It's
a really funny game. It has like really good comedy.
I know. It's like I know so much about all of Drakengard, but oh my gosh, but yeah, beyond the point. Square, fix Drakengard, port it, please.
Yeah, where are the ports? I mean, don't port every game. Drakengard 1 is. Ew. I don't know about that game.
Hey man, but might be some people that disagree with you. I'm kidding.
There's definitely people that disagree with me, but I don't acknowledge their opinion on that particular.
That's fair.
Because it's just.
But yeah, no, I think on PC stuff, I mean, Rebirth did a good job. I did a good job. I mean, I said it in my review. I think it's probably Square's best PC port yet. Does it mean that it's perfect? No, because it's definitely not. But at the same time, like, it's their best foot forward yet. And I mean, I don't know how anyone can argue with that. I still, man, I don't know how. And this isn't me discounting people, but I don't know how people are having all these issues. Like, they have to be enabling settings wrong, because I seriously, like, my dated system-ish is able to run this fine. And I'm like, I have a friend that I was talking to the other day. He has a 1660 Ti. He's running Rebirth with a mod. Like, yeah. If I've got people I know that are running it with a 1660 Ti, you cannot be sitting over here telling me, hey, I've got a 2080 Ti and it's not running. You're lying. You're lying.
Exactly.
But, and I will say, I do think that CPU does have a pretty decent impact in this game because I saw a report that someone did testing a 3060 Ti, and they had a Ryzen 5, I think it was a 7800.
Right.
And it got probably another additional 20 to 30 FPS on top of what I got with a 3060 Ti. So I don't know. It's like I feel like it's really like it's GPU heavy, it's CPU heavy. I mean, I think you got to have good both to get good stuff. But again, I mean, it's like I think you can make do with anything. I think that's the best part about this port is that they really tried to fit as many systems as possible, and they weren't just going in. It's like, okay, if you have a 3000 series or above, you're fine. Everyone else, buy. Like, you know, I feel like they did a good job at least trying to make it compatible with as many systems as possible. I've seen some rough screenshots online, though. Oh my gosh.
Right.
It might be compatible, but it might be running at like 66% resolution.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that, you know, people are having to compromise, but I mean, the reality is games are going to continue to evolve. And if you're a PC gamer, you have to understand this, you know, PS5 is not running at native 4K. Like, don't expect to run this game at native 4K if you're not running a really beefy system. You know, the PS5 Pro is not running at native 4K. PS5 Pro doesn't even run the majority of games at native 4K. So
PS5 Pro doesn't run any games at 4K because there's no games. No, I tell people all the time though, like people laugh at me. I have had so many of my buddies that I talk to. Good friend of mine, I got into Remake Integrate when it came to PS5. He's like, "You really bought a PS5 for this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I literally bought a PS5 for Final Fantasy VII, like because I knew that the next game was going to be exclusive. That's it. It's the whole reason I bought it. I mean." And now, seems like, at least from what Kitase said the other day, sounds like that they're not going to be exclusive to a console for the final release. So, just saying, I probably won't be getting it on the PS5.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're just at a point
sit on
where...
my shelf.
Yeah, you'll get the physical edition probably, but...
Oh, of course I will. Yeah,
right.
Of course I will.
But I don't know if you're going to get, like... Oh, dude. I don't know if you're going to get the Platinum, are you?
Yeah, no, I will. I definitely will. I'm definitely going to play it on PlayStation solely to get the Platinum because I have Remake, Integrate, I have Rebirth, Crisis Core, I have all of them. Original.
Man, Crisis Core Reunion was great, actually. I forgot to mention that port was pretty good.
That was a good port.
Honestly, I didn't have any issues with it at all. I don't think it crashed once. It was pretty good.
Yeah, you were cracking me up with the physical mention because I'm like, I literally got a package yesterday on my porch and I was like, what is this? I have no idea what this is.
Right.
And then I opened it up and I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I bought my third or fourth physical copy of Remake, but it was for good reason. Square had a couple of the Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Steelbooks left, and that's the one Steelbook I don't have. Mm-hmm. And so I bought it. I spent the money. I don't really care. But I'm like,
Square's
just sitting over here. Oh, they're sitting over here like rubbing their hands together like, oh yeah, this guy, he's always ordering that Final Fantasy VII stuff. Keep releasing the merch.
They know.
Terrible, man.
They know.
Oh, they know.
Have $100, if not $1,000 merch. Like they have such expensive merch. They know that we're buying it because they know the fans of their games are crazy people that are willing to spend a bunch of money on their stuff. They make luxurious products. They make luxurious games. You know, we're going to buy the stuff, like, especially with Kingdom Hearts fans. Edo.
The chess set. That's what I'm thinking of, man.
He bought
$700.
Oh, yeah. Gosh. He owns that, and he says that he doesn't really like Cage much anymore, but he bought that, like, post him saying that. Shout out to Edo. I love you, but that's wild. That's a really expensive purchase. You're crazy. I don't know if I would ever do that. The
craziest thing about that, bro. The craziest thing. So, okay, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
but
big fan.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, facts. But I'm not buying this chess set that doesn't play. You can't even play chess on it. You can't even do anything. It just sits.
There's nothing. It doesn't even do anything. It's like,
here's what they should have done. Oh my god, man. We gotta talk about this PC port, but I have to say this. Here's what they should have done. They made this whole thing like the game, like, no, Square, this is the one time, let's break canon. Let's make it an actual playable chess set with the pieces and everything and the cool board. I would have been like, oh, I'm game. I'm so game. But instead, no, let's just let it sit on the shelf. And also, by the way, let's be for real here. That chessboard is big. It is not
Yeah.
small. Where's that sitting? Who's putting that on a shelf? You can't fit it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're living
I
in
don't
like
get
a
it,
big
man.
house and you have a big room, I don't know what.
Oh,
you're
hey,
doing
let
with
me
that.
go to Home Depot and make a custom shelf for my $780 Kingdom Hearts chessboard.
Right, and I'm not gonna lie,
you
that
can't even call it
custom
a
shelf
chessboard.
might cost just as much. You know, you're spending like
Facts.
over $1,000 just to display this thing that barely anybody knows what it is unless you're a Kingdom
Oh my
Hearts
gosh,
fan.
man.
So it's like, you
Oh.
know.
I can't. Okay. So
Kingdom Hearts PC ports. There we go. Let's move on to the other ports that Square Enix has done. PC port for KH3. Very good, very odd. Actually, I just got a notification on my phone. I'm going to continue. Very goofy PC port where the 120 FPS on KH3 will speed up the game to a point where like you can't block and dodge certain things. Like Yozora's like tractor beam that he does. If you have the game on 120 frames per second, you literally cannot dodge it. Like it's too fast. So
oh my god,
that
man.
has not been fixed. I do not think that's been fixed. It's kind of wild. KH2 also has this weird audio bug that I thought they fixed and they didn't fix, where you know, if you hit too many enemies at the same time, it will literally destroy your eardrum. So it goes like just the loudest noise ever, and it's really annoying. I don't know. Those games, great ports. That's what the speedrunners are playing because they're the fastest. But I mean, there's some work to be done, and I don't know if they're ever going to go back to it. So, Square, please don't abandon Rebirth. There's things that need to be done.
So yeah, okay. I have a question for you. So did you experience any stutter in yours? Because I did for a minute, but way I fixed it was the VRAM issue. So I think the people who are running into stutter, my recommendation to you is to turn that texture resolution down to medium, because I really think that the lack of VRAM causes that camera stutter when you pan left to right.
Right.
But
so I think my 4070 has what, 12? Or sorry, what does it have? No, it's
16.
It has 16?
Is it 12 or 16?
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. How much VRAM does a 4070 have? It has 12.
Yeah, 12, I was going to say.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
So you're fine. You've got this texture and you got the room for it. But I think the 8 gigabyte cards, you know, that's the area that you got to be like, all right, I got to make the sacrifice on textures. But I promise you, like, the jump between medium and high, you can definitely tell, but it's not that bad. Now, low to medium is so bad. Like, literally, I'm telling you, this stuff, these textures were looking like they're out of 1997. Oh my god, like it was bad, man.
Might as well just turn the music back too.
No, for real, it's so bad, man. Oh man. Okay, speaking of music, that's got me thinking. Like, what are your most anticipated mods for the game?
Probably like OG music for sure. Like that'd be cool, just to have it. Like Resident Evil 2, I played Resident Evil 2 remake with the original music. It was way spookier that way. I like the new soundtrack for RE2, but mind you, I just think the original soundtrack.
It's a new direction.
Right.
It's good, but it's a new direction.
I'm glad that we have the option for a couple of bucks. I think it's like $3. But
thank you, Capcom.
Yeah, thank you, Capcom. For FF7, I've been noticing, I'm following a few people, the Ever Crisis outfits they've been putting up in the game. Pretty sick. Obviously, Tifa mods. We won't go into that. Let's continue. I do want to see kind of like weapon mods. Obviously, the basics, like, you know, certain colors. Like, you know, there's basic mods that you get, and then you get better mods. Like, for instance, when KH3 first came out on Epic Game Store, you know, we just had like color palette swaps, like one to make it like the original Heartless color palettes. And then we had, later on, we had like Olympus Coliseum, which was nuts, by the way. Crazy mod. It's insane. You should definitely look it up if you haven't seen that mod yet. Mind-blowing. It's unbelievable. It's strange that people are able to do so much with that game. There are more popular games than that game that have less mods. That's just because the Cage community is so great. You know, and we just have so many people modding. So I feel like that's going to carry over to FF7 Rebirth. We're going to have people making a lot of mods for the game. There wasn't that many like mods for FF7 Remake Intergrade, but I think Rebirth's just so much bigger and it's just so much more popular. I feel like we're going to see a lot more mods for FF7 Rebirth. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think so too. I think we'll see a lot more like custom stuff too.
I
That's not just like asset pouring over. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm super excited for all the Ever Crisis outfits to come over. Like, I hate gacha games. I hate them. But, Square will be like, okay, this is coming out. I'm like, okay, great. Let's go spend my crystals and get no one and then delete the game again.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the outfit mods, and it should be a pretty easy implementation. The funniest one I saw today was someone made a no yellow paint mod. I'm like, are we really back here again?
Like this Resident Evil conversation,
bad.
RE4 conversation where we're just talking about yellow paint again.
And it's so crazy too, because like in that game, the yellow paint was actually helpful. Like, you know what? Call me game journalist moment, but like the yellow paint is actually great because there's so many random objects in that game. The yellow paint, it's not even that prominent. You just see a glimpse of it. You're like, oh, okay, I know I can break that, and there might be an item there. Instead of like, okay, we're gonna mark nothing. There's 700 barrels. Go have fun.
It makes more sense in Spain.
Yes, I agree. And in Rebirth's case, especially, like those ledges that are just blended in with the cliffs. If there wasn't yellow paint there, it's gonna be hard because you have to think like, yes, if you're listening to this video, if you're buying Rebirth for a second time on PC. Or even if you're buying it for the first time, if you buy multiple games a year, you were considered like a very in tune gamer. Like most people, casuals who make up the majority of the market, only buy a few games a year.
Correct.
So realistically, that group is who most of the developers cater towards, and they should. That's the majority of the market. And that yellow paint helps because, yeah, I'm so sorry. The ledges in Rebirth, some of them you can barely see. If there wasn't for the yellow
accessibility.
Paint, like what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point of it.
I mean,
everybody thinks they know what they're talking about.
Sure. But like at the end of the day, I just don't understand like the craze for it. I think it's funny there's a mod though. I really do.
It is
one
wild.
of the first things they're like, we got to get rid of the yellow paint. We got to get rid of it.
You know the shimmering walls in KH3 that are meant to tell you what you can run up? Like I feel like that's one of the best implementations of all time.
I agree.
But also that has a mod to remove it. So, because it's a texture, you can also edit the texture. So, I mean, one of the things that we didn't mention yet is like they fixed a lot of the pop-in that the PS5 had. It's way better. Like, there's not really much pop-in at all.
Yes.
In the PC port.
No, I think that's a huge deal. Like, I think a lot of that has to do with now already console warriors, everyone else. You're not gonna be happy, but the PS5 SSD. I think has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Because I've played it with my NVMe SSD, and I think the combination of more VRAM, more graphical power, but more importantly, a fast SSD has allowed no pop-in and just seamless loading. Like the only thing you see is like at the very, very, very far distance, like little grass will come up in the grasslands, but you can barely see that. Like
you don't notice it. You don't notice it.
Who cares?
Pop-in is really not enjoyable. It's not aesthetically pleasing. So getting rid of it is a good thing. And honestly, it's just so much better on PC. Like I'd rather play the game like that any day of the week. People who bought a PS5 Pro to play Rebirth at a better frame rate texture, that's fine, but it's time to buy it on PC. If you have not bought the game on PC, or if you haven't bought the game at all and you have a PC that you think is powerful enough to run it, even if it's not powerful enough to run it, if you have a Steam Deck, you can play it on the Steam Deck too. Just buy the game. It's a good PC port. You got to support it. Square will most likely update it. It's getting a lot of players. So, I mean, they're going to put attention on it. They have the team for it. Just buy it. It's a great PC port.
Seriously. I mean, and that's the beauty of this port. It's like, it is their best PC port yet. Yes, it has some issues, but it is by far, and this is like as of the weekend, the most successful in terms of concurrent players at Final Fantasy game on Steam ever. Single player.
It is. It is.
So it's like, I mean, it hit over 40,000 players. I mean, that's awesome. I'm super, super happy for Square. And I mean, I hope that this is a sign that the PC market wants your games and also like, let's devote time to making better ports. And I think this will happen. Like, I think part 3 rolls around. It'll be, 3 years down the road at this point. Like, you're going to be so much better in terms of the offerings that they give us. But, hey, they've got a couple years to cook some stuff up. But, I'm just glad we got it and it runs well and people are enjoying it. Because the more people that can play this game, the better. It's really sad and disappointing that it was locked up in PlayStation exclusivity,
Yeah.
Sony is not the best marketer of their games. Now, granted, Square does a pretty good job of marketing overall, but I'm not gonna give them credit for their final trailers.
Yeah,
So,
true.
oh my god, solely
true.
because, oh man, I'm keeping my lips tight on who this is individually, but a good friend of mine that works at Square told me that the Rebirth the Rebirth final trailer was like minimal on spoilers, and I'd already been like almost done with the game at this point, and I just remember starting the final trailer and like, oh, okay, let's see it, and literally the first 5 seconds was Song at the Temple of the Ancients. I was like, dude. Like, dude. Like this,
It's minimal on
will be
spoilers,
worse.
guys. Yeah, like
Dude, nothing will be worse than the Kingdom Hearts 3 final trailer.
oh,
Like,
dude, yeah,
oh my
Cage
God.
3 had so many spoilers. There was a point where like people
Dude.
just stopped watching the trailers because they were just so spoilery. Like showing the Keyblade graveyard, I think that's what they did.
No,
It
no,
was
what
just
they
like-
did was even worse, bro. They showed everything. I just remember the worst part of it was whenever you see the Kingdom Key come down and Axel goes, "Who are you?" and there's a hooded member standing in front of him. And we know who
Yeah,
it is.
it's like obviously
It's like,
Gion.
oh my god.
And we're
right.
like,
It's
oh wow,
dude.
thanks guys. I'm so glad that you've spoiled this character that I cried
It's like
for
one of the
days
biggest
over.
reveals in the
Like
game, man.
literally, is that Gion, who was a forgotten nobody puppet, number 14. We all forgot about her in this nightmarish, depressing video game where we never thought she was going to come back ever. And she's back, and you spoiled it in the trailer. Thanks. Very much appreciated. Thanks to marketing team. Thank you. I appreciate
We love
the
you,
spoiler.
Square. We love you.
you.
but yeah, no, I think Rebirth was really good. I will say, no, I gotta comment on the marketing though. I think they did a really, really good job marketing the PC release. I think
Yes.
they did. They
Yes.
launched it at the Game Awards in front of a ton of people. It got a ton of excitement. And I think the best part is, you know, we had multiple trailers, but they had that nice long trailer that showcased everything. But I think their best one was that one. They kind of showcased like all the different graphical options and upgrades and side by sides. I was like, they did a really good job marketing why this was a better port. And I think hopefully they don't have to do this as a separate release going forward. And it could just be like, hey guys, here's what the PC version is going to look like when it comes out day and date. Right?
Exactly.
Hopefully. But
That's necessary.
one can dream.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
no, I mean, I was just going to say, I mean, well, I just really hope that, you know, I hope that people are enjoying the game, most importantly, and that it's running well in your system. And again, if it's not, optimize.
Yeah, it's all you can do. It's not like you can just, you know, it's not like you really have much of a choice. Like if you've already bought it, just optimize, dude. That's what you got to do. If you want to play the game, I understand, you know, PC gamers, you have to be transparent. We appreciate that transparency. It's necessary in order to get Square to update the things and patch the things that are wrong with the port, right? So, of course, all feedback is necessary and all feedback is warranted.
Absolutely. And really, of course, we're just happy to have another version of Rebirth to talk about. I mean, come on. Who's not?
Yeah, extending the life of this game, you know, it's definitely necessary.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, if you know us, we've got a lot of plans to cover all of the mod support and everything else for the game. But I think that about does it for our initial discussion and thoughts around this port. And we hope you enjoyed Under the Plate episode 15. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one.